afraid of the dark, especially when I'm in a park and there's no one else around. Ooh, I get the shivers. I don't wanna see a ghost. It's a sight that I fear most. I'd rather have a piece of toast, watch the evening news. Life, oh life, oh life, oh life.
Hello and welcome to blog number 3. I'm going to be talking about the Interac phone interview and then kind of what went on after the phone interview. So hopefully you're watching this because you passed that resume phase and you're ready to jump into the phone interview. And phone interviews are, I would say, more nerve-wracking than actual face-to-face interviews, because at least when you're sitting there and talking to a person, you can read them. You know you're bombing, you know you're not bombing. It's just kind of nerve-wracking when you don't have any of that feedback coming back at you. So the phone interview was about 15 minutes. All the recruiters are really nice. The recruiter that I had the interview with was Sarah, and she called me right on time. And beforehand I prepared. I wrote down questions that I would have for them on a sheet of paper. I wrote down little notes to help remind me when they asked me questions like, why do you want to work for Interac? I wrote down notes from what I wrote before and new ideas I wanted to add to it and whatnot. So that was ready to go, so I could just look at it, bam, I remembered it, and I can ramble off why I want to work for Interac. Also, they want to make sure that you understand what an alt is, so I would take notes again, that way you just don't get caught brain dead and just like, I'm a blank, oh my gosh. But so Sarah, she called on time, and I took a sip of my water to calm myself. I had my water right there. Like, okay, we could do this. So she started off just asking a couple questions. Easy, you know. How are you doing today? You know, they always seem to ask that. And then she started asking me the questions of, like, why do I want to work for Interac? And I answered. And also, where I would want to live in Japan. And so I did tell her that I would love to live in Nara. I want to hang out with the deer every day. That would be awesome. I love Nara. The ancient history of Japan and everything, it's called to me. So that would be like dream come true. Everything comes together. God loves me, makes life perfect. Nara. I'd be living in Nara. But I am open to anything. So I did tell her that I had spent a week in Hokkaido in February. It was cold. Very, very cold. I'm from California. Californians don't know that cold. It's very, very cold. Anyways, so I told her I was prepared. I knew what it was going to be like, rural and this and that. So she's like, okay, good. Yeah, it kind of sounds like you're prepared. I'm like, yeah, I am. I've been to a few places in Japan, Fukuoka, and places like that, so I know what it's like. And she said they have no control really where you're going to be placed. I mean, of course, if they do have an opening in Nara, let's say, they would put my name there first and see if I get a bite and then go from there, but they really don't have control. So, yeah, I made it perfectly clear. When I said anywhere, I meant anywhere. So, with that, she also asked me if I would be willing to drive in Japan. I said yes, and you know, I'm starting to think this is where I went south with Jet, because I said no, and they don't give you any, like, space for you to say why. But I did tell her, and it was one of my questions that I have written down for them too. I said, I wouldn't mind driving in Japan at all. I don't, but I don't have a driver's license, so it's kind of hard to drive in Japan when you don't have a driver's license. So, yeah, she did say that would be important and I should get one, and she took that time and opportunity to tell me that she was going to move me on to the next stage. So I should probably get my driver's license. That way I would improve my chances of getting the job, because a lot of the jobs left over in the mid-year are rural placements that people left because they didn't like it. It didn't fit them. I don't think it's some horror story that, you know, you're going to get a job that no one wanted. The teachers are horrible. No one talks to you. They felt so alone. Well, it all depends, because I get along well with people, so I probably will get along well with the teacher that didn't get along with my predecessor, or maybe the predecessor couldn't handle the country. They thought they could, but they really couldn't. I'm good for that too. I'm good for the city, you know, so I don't see that really being a problem, but you won't know until you're placed what the situation is. But some people just didn't want to drive too. They didn't want to deal with the hassle of a car, or maybe because you're more rural, you have more schools to go to, and maybe they didn't like that they're running around every day. So we'll just see how it is when you get there, right? So yeah, working on the driver's license, got the permit, put a few hours behind the wheel, and hopefully the weather will clear up and I can go out again this weekend, but I doubt it. But yeah, that's kind of how the interview went. She was really nice, and we made a couple of jokes back and forth, like, you know, she laughed and I said, "Oh, I'm prepared. I've been to Hokkaido," and she laughed and whatnot. So, you know, it was a good interview. And the important things to have down is your answers for why Interact. Get that down. What is your strategy for making sure they understand and realize you will go anywhere? She also asked me about my experience. So I explained to her that the club I worked for at Toyo University, I basically worked as an alt. I went from sitting in the corner until they were ready for a native speaker to spout out the words for the day, to coming up with game ideas, activities, and taking the whole lesson and practicing things with the whole club and running it. So she said that was basically what an alt does. So I'm like, yeah, I understand it. I know what an alt does. But so that helped. I have also 4 years of teaching assistance for film, television production class. So that got me some points, I think. But yeah, it was really nice, went well. So after that now, they didn't have the dates yet for the seminars, but she did tell me San Francisco would be first, and probably be early April. With everything going on in Japan right now, it's probably going to be delayed, but who knows? I mean, they're so busy, you know, getting their teachers straightened out who are over there, and who are and getting aid who needs aid and stuff. So they don't, like, I can wait. But yeah, so that should be interesting, because I hear you have to have a lesson plan and basically do a teach in front of the camera, so those people in Tokyo will be looking at you and going, "Oh gosh, she can't speak," or "she's way too hyper." But being hyper is good, I hear. But yeah, and that's one reason why I'm doing this, so I'd be more comfortable looking like an idiot in front of the camera. But yeah, so after that I got an email saying, "Congrats, you're on to the next stage. We'll let you know when it is. But here's all this paperwork we want you to do first." Because how Interact works is, because they run later, and I think they do it so they can catch the jet rejects. Because basically April? Yeah, April, the next stage, and by then they want you to have, well, for the most part, all your paperwork done for your visa. So that's what I have. I have a form that basically says that they can get my FBI criminal background information. I sent them a criminal background information thing I had to get. What else was there? Oh, a consent? No, what they call a resume, which I found this really interesting. They want you to list where you've worked. Obviously, it's a resume, but they want you to list every school you have gone to. We're talking like elementary school, so I had to write that all down. All these can get uploaded, which is great because that was nice and easy. You don't have to spend money on the mail. But a copy of your passport page and things like that. The biggie transcripts, a copy of your degree, and your transcripts. So it's not one or the other, you need both. But you can also get just a letter of completion, a letter that says, hey, Wanaka Bunny graduated on this date and she did everything. So, which is what I did from UH. That's what I got. So, I just got that in the mail, but that you can't scan. It has to be in a closed envelope. And I gotta mail that to them. I gotta get 2 passport photos, which I have to cut down because Japan's requirements are slightly smaller than ours. So I still have to get that. I'm gonna get that this weekend. And then that's everything that I had to send to them. So yeah. That's about it, I think. If you have any questions, comment again, and I'll try to get back to you. Hopefully you guys find this helpful, because especially when it comes to Interac, there's probably a lot of blogs and things on Jet, and a lot of people do Jet, and so you hear stories, you have friends who did Jet or are doing Jet right now, and you see their Facebook updates and whatnot. But Interac is kind of not talked about too much, so I hope this blog opens up what goes on and how it works, and would really help people who didn't get into Jet, or they don't even want to deal with Jet, they want to go with Interac, because Interac is a really good company. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully this will continue to me talking about the job I get and the schools, and I'm not, you know, I'll talk about maybe a couple of the negative things I may come across, but honestly, a lot of the negative things you read about online are all jobs, including Jet, that there are these problems and this and that, but we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out, but I just can't wait again for my little tour. Like, this is my apartment, this is my futon, this is my button that I post to start my bath. You know, things like that. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. So, yeah, that's it for now. Questions and all that, just let me know. And until next time, Janet.